Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now Anthony Joshua has reflected on his first defeat of his career against Andy Ruiz Jr. in June 2019. This is what he had to say about that fight. The first Ruiz fight, I know that wasn't me. You can see the ring walk and me standing in the ring. That wasn't me. So what Anthony Joshua is alluding to is the fact that he wasn't necessarily 100% present for that fight, and the fact that he wanted to be fighting someone like Jarrell Miller and Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Those are bigger fights. He said before that it was about building up to undisputed, road to undisputed, not road to someone like Ruiz. So therefore he became a little bit disillusioned with the sport of boxing because he wasn't getting the big fights that he so craved. He is now obviously going in to an undisputed fight with Tyson Fury. So he's finally getting there now, but the reason why that fight didn't capture Anthony Joshua 100% is because it wasn't the fight that he wanted. The rematch went differently because he was 100% invested in it. His career in some cases was on the line. Obviously another loss isn't going to be huge like the ending of Anthony Joshua's career, but it's going to make it extremely difficult for him to get another world title opportunity. So therefore Anthony Joshua was in a position where his back was up against the wall and he had to get the victory. In the first fight, he had to get the victory, but it wasn't something that Anthony Joshua really went in there and tried to grab it by the horns. He went in there boxing early on, he was boxing neat, tidy, but he got the knockdown and he thought, okay, perfect, let's close the show. I don't want to be in here any longer than I have to be, because let's just move on to perhaps Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and the big fights. So he went in to close the show, and ultimately he got caught with one shot he didn't see coming. So it wasn't the true AJ in the fact that he wasn't necessarily 100% invested in fighting Andy Ruiz. So Ruiz capitalized on that brilliantly. He was a great fighter, and everyone was telling Anthony Joshua that he was going to beat Ruiz. He was expected to get the knockout in a couple of rounds. Then, when that doesn't happen, and he goes in there with a fighter who's better than he is expected to be, that is when you have troubles, because Ruiz is like the upset king, and Anthony Joshua wasn't 100% on it. So he was going in there slightly off the gas, and Ruiz was a lot better than they had expected. I mean, they expected a good fighter, but nothing compared to the fighter that came out. Ruiz is a great fighter, and he is a great addition to the heavyweight division. We will see a lot more from him going forwards, but with regards to AJ's performance in the first fight, that was down to a little bit of inexperience. He rushed in too quickly to close the show when Ruiz wasn't ready to go yet. If he had waited a little bit longer, got back behind his boxing, his jab, like he did in the Pulev fight, then things would have been different. But he didn't. He went in there trading with Ruiz, and Ruiz came out on top because AJ got caught with a shot he didn't see coming and never recovered. So there were certain things that Anthony Joshua neglected in the Ruiz fight. Ruiz you can't take anything away from because he grabbed the opportunity and he was in a great position. 5 weeks out he got a big fight for the unified heavyweight champion in Anthony Joshua. And boy did he take his opportunity. So we can take nothing away from what he was able to do that night. But there is no getting away from the fact that Anthony Joshua didn't necessarily want to be in there with Ruiz. He wanted to be in there with a big fighter like Deontay Wilder, like Tyson Fury. He wanted that big name, but it just wasn't coming. And also what happened on Ruiz fight week is Wilder announced he was going to be fighting Luis Ortiz, a fight that then didn't happen until November, proving that he had no ambition to fight Anthony Joshua. So Joshua was in that position of being a unified champion, wanting to be undisputed, but knowing that that was something beyond his grasp because Wilder was going to be fighting someone else anyway. And Tyson Fury was a big fight, but at that point, he wanted Deontay Wilder for that undisputed fight, and it just wasn't coming, prompting him to perhaps look past Ruiz and not really understand the challenge that was in front of him. He knew he was a good fighter, he always knew that, but he didn't really expect the kind of fighter that Ruiz was to come out, and he wasn't really expecting a big fight because he was expecting a Deontay Wilder fight down the line. This wasn't the big fight, even though Ruiz made it to be so, especially in the rematch, because that was perhaps the biggest fight to date. So guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Anthony Joshua says he wasn't his normal self in the ring with Andy Ruiz in the first fight. Guys, drop your thoughts on this in the comments below. Also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.